What's up, everybody? We got this new addition to our set here today, Mr. Willie
Coyote.
Peralta.
Willie Peralta.
I can. We're 20 games into the season, and I can say that I've been in attendance for 1/4 of the Brewers' victories this season.
Well,
That's
and
pretty
I'm sure
good,
it was a loss. No, it was a win, actually.
Well, 1-1 so far.
Well, see, then you got to go to every game from
But
now
it's
on.
pretty bad when you can say you've seen one victory in 20 games, and you've seen a
that's
quarter
not
of their
good.
victories.
And there may not be many more on the horizon either.
But we're just going to leave the Brewers out of it this week.
Yeah,
'cause
well,
we're not letting them
forget the
suck our
Brewers.
energy out of here. We're going to talk
No.
about the Bucks instead, because they actually are doing something exciting.
Yes.
And the Jets, who are
Jets
doing exciting things.
And the freak who got robbed, and I'm incensed about the whole MVP voting in the NAHL, and somebody needs to explain to me how that young man is not your MVP.
John's mad. He's
not
mad
happy.
today. And then we'll
The draft
delve into some draft.
tells you how big the NFL is. When,
Not my favorite thing, but they're
me neither,
It's
but
all over the place.
We
got to
talk about it, yeah.
All that and more this week's episode of Extra Points. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Extra Points. I'm Gazette sports editor Eric Schmaltz, alongside sports writer John Barry.
Last time I checked, yeah.
We're here to discuss all things
What's going on in
local,
the world?
state
What's
sports.
going on in the world?
Even the draft, I guess that's more of a national thing.
That is a
but,
big deal, yes.
yeah, we
in
do-
Chicago this year.
We
too.
try to do this every week, and here we are. It's almost May. It's kind of crazy. I
is
guess
kinda
it will be.
crazy.
It could be
It's
for
nice
some of
out.
these people
Better
that are
than last
watching
week.
this. We'll talk some Bucks. We'll talk some Jets. We'll talk some draft. I guess we'll just start with the Bucks. I don't think we would have expected to be sitting here 1 week later even really having to talk about them, because we just talked last week about how they were kind of getting some playoff experience and getting out of the way. But lo and behold, they've won Game 4. They won Game 5. Heck,
Here we are.
They could have won Game 3.
They could be up 3-2 right now, going back home.
And now they'll be hosting Game 6 back at the Bradley Center on Thursday night.
Well, and I think when you look at it, that was a team built around bringing in Jason Kidd. Everybody was kind of not sure what was going on. Why didn't it work out in Brooklyn? Obviously he's there now, and that team's built on length, and that length is giving the Bulls fits the last two games. Henson's been a monster. Michael Carter-Williams at point guard. And you throw Jabari in the mix next year, whomever they might draft, it's a team that's going to get better. I just hope it's in Milwaukee and not in Seattle or wherever else they might put them if the arena doesn't work out. But Monday night's game was fun to watch. The Bulls, the Bucks would get ahead, the Bulls would make a run, and it kept going back and forth. And at the end, I think just the Bucks defense, and a couple of Bulls players said it best, they outworked us. They worked harder than we did. We came in expecting to win, knowing that we're the better team and we're going to outscore them, and it didn't happen. And now, all of a sudden, like you said, you go back and you think, we got to go back to Milwaukee. They win there. It's 3-3, and they've already proven they can win at the United Center. And I got to bet the Bulls are a little bit leery right now of having to beat Milwaukee one more time, but not having that week off to play, to heal up before they play the Cavs, who are hurting right now.
Should note that no team has ever come back from
No.
a 3-0 deficit, so it would be kind of interesting to see some history.
Yes, it would.
And I think, if they could win at home, obviously that would make for a real interesting Game 7.
It would make for a great Chicago sports radio on Sunday if that ever did happen. But, I still think the Bulls, they are the better team, and I still think they'll find a way to win. But like you said, the Bucks win Game 6, and it really – Game 7 will be crazy. I mean, no one expected to come to a Game 7.
Or I don't think anybody expected to
Come
see
to
a Game 6.
No, you're right.
John Henson kind of mentioned that after the game last night, too, on the radio, and he said, we just go back. If the fans show up Game 6 like they did for 3 and 4, we have a little fun, maybe win another game, and who knows what happens in Game 7.
And I know
he had a great fourth quarter.
He had a great fourth quarter, and the game before with Bayless hitting the big shot. It's kind of a thing right now where they're believing in each other, and I think Jason Kidd's got them to understand that, if you guys play together and don't go one-on-one and try to do things you're not capable of, that you got a chance, and that's what they've done. And I think the good thing about Game 6 is tickets went on sale for Wisconsin people only. And that doesn't mean they're not
pre-sale, yeah.
They're not Bulls fans, but certainly you would expect the mix to maybe not be as 50-50 as it's been with Bulls fans versus Bucks fans, and you hope that the Bradley Center, majority of those fans on Thursday night are going to be Bucks fans.
You mentioned before we started shooting here, you liked that Charles Barkley called Jason Kidd the
Point guard
whisperer.
Whisperer.
I mean, Michael Carter-Williams was the best player on the floor.
He was better than Derrick Rose, and Derrick Rose is really in 6 games has had one really good game and nothing great after that. And Michael Carter's only going to get better. He's 22. I think he was a Rookie of the Year, and with Jason Kidd as a mentor, I think as he learns to become a better shooter, he's got the other attributes that you want in a point guard. He handles the ball well, he can pass, and like I say, once he gets that mid-range jumper down that Jason was so good at, he's going to be an effective point guard and a guy that could lead you for the next 6-7 years.
Give me a prediction here. You think this goes to a Game 7?
I don't. I think the Bulls find a way in Game 6. I think they'll wake up, and I think Thibodeau is probably going to say, look, you guys realize now that you can't just show up and play. And as good as Jimmy Butler's been, and Rose is probably due for another breakout game. So I kind of like the Bulls in Game 6, but boy, I hope I'm wrong. And how many times have I been wrong in this show? So let's hope
just
I'm
about
wrong
every
and we
week,
go to
I
Game
think,
7.
yeah.
And then Game 7 on Saturday would be just crazy. It would be great for the Bucks moving forward, win, lose, or draw.
I kind of agree with you. I just think the Bulls probably Game 4, buzzer beater, okay. They probably still thought we're the better team. We're going to come out and win at home. And for Game 5, no big deal. And they didn't do that. I think that's probably the wake-up call they needed. Probably come back and win Game 6. But it would be nice to see a Game 7, and we'll follow along.
I just don't know if I can take 2 more games of Pau Gasol whining, because that's all he does. I don't think he's ever committed a foul, and I don't think he's ever missed a shot without getting fouled. I don't
think he's ever taken a shot.
Last night he was whining with the referee while the Bucks were running transition on him and scoring, and then I think he didn't get back in time, and John Henson just blasted in a rebound dunk, and because Gasol was too busy crying to the official about getting fouled, and I mean, it gets old. I mean, just play.
You can hear him on the radio because every time he throws the ball up, he yells. And
he won some award for being, the nicest to the media or something like that last week, and I'm thinking...
It's a bit different thing.
It's like the Jets. Who's voting on this award is what I want to know.
You're so angry today, John.
I'm angry. Can we talk about that next?
Well, let's let you cool down for a minute first.
All right.
We'll move to the Jets, but let's save that for just a minute.
All right.
We'll let you cool down and then rile back up again.
Okay.
But Friday night, you got a chance to go down there.
I did.
I've kind of stolen the Jets' thunder, the Jets' beat here, and I usually am down there at the games, but you got a chance to go down there and see a game. I know it kind of got out of hand.
Yep.
With the penalties and the Sioux kind of just
that's how they wanted to play.
Crazy.
I mean, they did exactly what they wanted, and
I guess just your general impressions, though, what you thought about going down to a Jets game and seeing what it was like.
This is
during the
the
playoffs.
fourth. Let's see. This would be the 5th year of the Jets or the 6th? Sixth year of the Jets. By far the most talent that Janesville's ever had. I mean, those kids can skate. They get up and down the ice. There really isn't a huge drop off on lines, and with Jurusik, Jurusik in goal, who obviously at 28 or 29 straight games is just on a roll like probably will never be seen again. They're fun to watch, and they're very unselfish. I think that was what stood out more than anything is just how unselfish they are, making the extra pass. Picking up teammates. Sue wanted to play real chippy, and I think was trying to entice Janesville into, some game misconducts or get guys suspended for one game, and it didn't really work. And instead, what they did is just bury themselves by Janesville scoring 3 early goals, and and then they just rolled a hot goaltender after that. I mean, you and I could have been in net probably, and they just still won.
And they've played 5 playoff games now. They won all 5, and they've outscored their opponents something like 28-12 or something. Yeah. It's ridiculous. And Jurusik, like you said, has won all 5 games, up to 29 wins in a row. And now they'll go Friday night, play at Sioux, and hopefully get another one and just get home with a sweep and get ready for the semifinals. If not, they would play Saturday. And if for some reason they lost 2 in a row, which hasn't happened in months,
they'd have to come back here for Monday.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and in talking to Bill McCoshin, the general manager and owner, on Friday, I was under the assumption that the last playoff series is a best of 3 on the home team's, the team with the better record's home ice. It's actually the last 2 playoff series. So if the Jets win, and which they should this weekend, they will host here on out. And so the Robertson Cup really does go through Janesville in the ice arena. So if they can beat the Sioux on Friday or Saturday and get back, they're looking at either Fairbanks, Alaska, or a team from Minnesota, and they would host. And there would be no more road no more traveling, and the best of 3 series, and that sure beats getting on a plane and going to Fairbanks, Alaska for a 2-night or 2-game series.
Well, and that was part of the reason why they were so adamant once they won the division that they weren't looking back. They needed to clinch the regular season title, so they had home ice advantage. Then they went for the record, and they got that with 100 points and 49 wins, and that all led to a couple of awards on Monday. They were the organization of the year, which hard to
argue with that.
Can't argue with that when they just put together perhaps the best.
Yeah,
it was the best record in league history.
Coach Dibble was the coach of the year.
He was the GM of the year.
GM of the year, that's right.
I think he called Bill the GM a second ago. But Joe Dibble, who's the head coach, also the GM, and he was the GM of the year, and can't argue with that. Like you said, put together a team that was so unselfish, and in that sense, you can't really argue with no forwards or defensemen on the first team all league because none of them put up gaudy stats. They shared the points, the goals, the assists. I mean, you look up and down that roster, and there's numbers all over the place. But like you kind of mentioned before, Matt Jurusik, who has put together a run that we won't see again between the net. Not the goalie of the year, not the rookie of the year.
Who voted?
Not the MVP.
Well, I mean, what do you have to do? He's won 29 straight games. Now, obviously, they announced the voting last week, so, oh boy, maybe at that point he'd only won 27 in a row.
It might even have been end of the season.
I mean, come on.
Would have been 23.
You led your team to the best record in NAHL history, the most points in NAHL history, and you've won 20, let's say it's 25 games in a row at that point. How do you not vote for him? I'm not trying to belittle the guy that did win it, but you can't match Jurusik's stats.
Number 1 in goals against average, number 1 in save percentage, number 1 in shutouts. I looked maybe thinking that they would think, well, he played in a tougher, the other guy played in a tougher division, but when you looked at saves per game, it was similar, so it seemed like he was probably facing a similar
So you're
onslaught.
Penalizing a guy because he's on a good team?
Right, he's on a great team in a division that I think everybody would admit wasn't great this year, but
still,
when you put together numbers like that, I don't understand how you can't reward him.
It's kind of like looking at the NBA thing. I still think Steph Curry is going to be your MVP just because of what Golden State did, and he was the best player on the best team. Well, Jurusik was the best player on the best team. I mean, that to me is what the MVP is all about. And you take him out of the equation. Is Janesville still good? Yes, they are. But what he did and where he's at right now is unfathomable. You can't name any other person that's had that kind of a streak.
Maybe you can. Maybe for MVP wise, I'm sure there's argument you can be made. Maybe for rookie of the year too. But how you can not be the goalie of the year when you led all statistical categories?
Every category.
Went on this crazy run. You're on the best team. It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, it doesn't, and it made me look bad because I wrote in my Saturday story that the MVP was his usual self, and then I find out he didn't even win the MVP. So I apologize for that, but he's the MVP in my book. That's all that matters. I don't care about the other cronies that didn't vote for him. He's the MVP, and he'll always be the MVP.
I'd love to hear from somebody who would let me know what in the world.
Yeah, how he's not the goalie of the year. Exactly.
At least the goalie.
So if there's anybody out there watching us, please let us know how that young man at 29 straight wins and a ridiculous goals against average and save percentage, how he is not at least the goalie of the year. And I'll leave it at that.
And congrats to the Jets, though, on the other. I know we don't want to overshadow the fact that and they're
all very deserving.
Still going to make a big run here, and they're they're 5 wins away from winning the whole dang thing.
They are.
So, and Jurusik will be a big part of that. And my guess is this will be a little bit even more motivation.
How great would it be if you ended the season at like 35 in a row?
It would be 34 in a row.
34 in a row, and then he could say, "Well, I don't care about the MVP. I got a cup, so I don't care."
Oh man, we'll see. Hopefully they keep this thing running. Big weekend for sports. This is really gonna be a fun weekend.
Derby weekend.
Got the Derby. Got Manny versus Money. Manny Pacquiao, Floyd, Money Mayweather fight Saturday night, and then obviously the draft. Going to be a busy weekend, and I guess what are your general thoughts on maybe who a position or a player that you think the Packers might
Well, I
target?
think certainly, losing Trayvon Williams, they've got to look at corner. But
Trayvon.
What did I say?
Trayvon,
yeah. You got to look at corner, but Ted Thompson is kind of always gone by best player available. And if it's a receiver, if it's what if Melvin Gordon's sitting there at where the Packers pick. Do they grab him because he's the best player? I mean, I know they like certainly what they have now and with backups, and obviously Eddie Lacy's their workhorse. But it'll be interesting. But I think you got to draft for need and not draft as much for best player available.
And then it's pretty hard once you get that late in the first round to even predict who might fall to that spot.
And I think the one guy that keeps coming back in a lot of mock drafts that I've looked at is kid out of Connecticut, Jones. That pretty freakish athlete, a kid that could step in right away and contribute. And whether that's on the Packers' radar or not, I don't know. But he's certainly a kid that I've seen a lot of mock drafts the Packers selecting. But it's going to be interesting. And you and I are in agreement that the draft is way overblown. I mean, I don't get into it as like a lot of people do.
I don't think it's overblown in the sense that people love it and they tune into it. So you should just, I don't blame the networks for blowing it up, because if they can get the viewers from it, then you might as well keep doing it. But for me, I'd rather spend my weekend doing something else.
And that's just it. Okay, Thursday night, are you watching Bucks Bulls, or are you watching the first round of the draft?
Well, we'll probably be flipping back and forth. It's a good thing we got two TVs in here.
Yeah, it is a good thing. But, it's interesting because I think there's going to be some trades, and I think Mariota's a wild card, whether Tennessee hangs on to him or they trade. Cleveland's looking to get up there. San Diego's looking to package Rivers. The Eagles certainly with Kelly and having had him in college earlier, interested in him. But it's a matter of what can you give Tennessee in return. And unless you can get probably two first-rounders back, maybe a second, I don't think Tennessee moves up. But I still think Tennessee takes Mariota, and he competes with Zach Mettenberger for that spot. But I think in talking to everybody, not talking to him, but listening to him, Winston and Mariota are going to go 1-2, but they're probably not the two best players in the draft. I mean, Leonard Williams, a kid out of USC, sounds like he may be the best overall player in the draft, and he could fall as far as 4 or 5, depending, again, whether teams draft for need or if they draft on best player available. But it's always fun to watch.
The receiver from Alabama.
Yeah, Amari Cooper. Yeah, Fowler, the linebacker from Florida. I mean, there's guys that, there's some wild cards, and there's a lot of trades that I think when you look at the Bears, who I think are picking 7th or 8th, something like that, certainly losing Brandon Marshall, you would think one of the top receivers, whether it's Cooper, Kevin White from Virginia Tech, kid from Louisville, I think it's Alexander or something like that. I don't know. There's 3 or 4 wide receivers that they think could go in the top 15, and the Bears losing Brandon Marshall, you would think, would probably jump on board with one of those, would probably either Cooper or White if either one of them is available. But, with Mel Kiper and everybody else on board and Berman, it's fun just to listen to everybody. And, how many times are you going to hear, that's a reach or something? There's drinking games you can play based on the NFL draft. So it's kind of fun, and I'll be tuned in. I
like the first night.
I like the first night. After that, I don't care.
I'll do something else for the rest of my weekend.
Yeah, I always, being a Dolphin fan, I always like to see where they're at. And there's talk that they could take Gurley, the running back from Georgia, that's coming back from ACL, but he got a clean bill of health at his personal workout. So as a Dolphin fan, I'm looking to see where they're at. But just in general, it's fun to watch. It's 3 hours of entertainment, and in Chicago this year. So instead of Jets fans booing and Giants fans booing, you'll get a chance to see the Bears fans boo if they don't like the pick.
Got any Derby picks? I haven't even looked that far.
No, I have not, other than there was Carpe Diem.
Carpe Diem?
Carpe Diem, yes. He's my boy. What about
Dortmund, I think, is one of the other ones.
What about the fight?
Mayweather.
You like Mayweather?
In a decision, yeah.
In a decision, all right. Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I don't really care. I don't have a vested interest in either one. Mayweather, obviously, his legacy is tainted if he loses. If he doesn't lose, he probably retires undefeated, which is, that's pretty cool. But the sad part is I can't name any other boxers besides those two, other than Klitschko, the heavyweight.
He won again this past weekend. If it's a close fight, they'll fight again, and they'll probably fight 3 times. And I think it'll all come more than 5 years too late.
Mayweather's guaranteed over $400 million, so life's tough. If you were going to pay me $400 million, I would let you knock me out in 5 seconds if you wanted to. Just pay me my money and I'll be gone.
It'd be fun to be in Vegas this weekend.
It would be fun.
That.
Yes, it would.
But we're not. We're sticking around here.
We'll be here at the Cougar Relays on Friday night and the Ashenfelter Golf Invitational on Saturday. But really, people on Saturday, the Ashenfelter Invitational has got the best golfers in the state coming to Riverside. And you want to watch good young golfers play golf, Riverside's the place to be on Saturday morning.
I'll be out there, so if you see me, you say hello. You can also let us know what you think of this show by leaving us a comment on YouTube or iTunes. You can find us on Twitter. You can email us at sports@gazetteextra.com. All kinds of different ways.
Whatever you
can
want
get
to
a hold
call
of
us, we don't care.
Yeah, give a shout.
Yeah.
I would prefer if you didn't like stalk me and hunt me down, but
No, we don't.
a simple
want
hello might be all right.
that would be nice.
Thanks to our producer Andrew Ryder and Kevin McLeod for the music, and we'll see you back here next week after the great weekend of sports that is about to come.
Yes. Take care, everybody.